Hi, my name is Robin. Welcome to English Grammar Now. Today, we're going to be talking about ever and never. We're continuing on our topic, the present perfect, where we often use these words. We've already discussed the present perfect and how it is often used to explain people's experience in their lives from the past until now. So to do this, we frequently use the words ever and never to ask and answer questions about other people's experiences. When we use the word ever, we mean in your life or at any time. For example, have you ever been to Europe? Is asking if you have been at any time in your life. If we use the word never, we're saying not once in my life or not at any time. So if we use the sentence, I've never been to Europe, we're saying that at no time in my life have I been there. We have to be careful how we use ever and never in sentences. For example, ever can only be used in questions and in negative sentences. We cannot use ever in a positive sentence. When we add ever into the sentence, it comes before the main verb, or between the to have verb and the main verb, which are both part of the present perfect. So we could ask the question we've already said, have you ever been to Europe? But we could not use ever if we want to answer the question positively. If I wanted to say, I have ever been to Europe, we can't put ever in that sentence. However, if I have been to Europe, I will say that without using the word ever. I have been to Europe. If it's negative, however, I can use ever. I would say, I haven't ever been to Europe, meaning at no time in my life have I been to Europe. If we want to use never, it will come in the same place in the sentence, between the to have verb and the main verb. But never is a negative word, so we will not use it together with a negative verb. If the verb is already negative, we can't use the word never. So we could say, I've never been to Europe. We could also ask the question, have you never been to Europe? But if we have a negative verb like haven't, we could not say, I haven't never been to Europe. That's two negatives in one sentence, and it's a bit confusing. Here's something for you to try that out. We know how to use ever and never. Each of these 5 sentences is missing one of those 2 words. See if you can figure out which one goes in each sentence. Go ahead, give it a try. Here's the answers to those sentences. Number 1, we've never taken the ferry before. Because this is a positive sentence, we need to use never. She hasn't ever met my whole family. Do you see that negative verb? We can't use never in this sentence. Number 3, haven't you ever wondered what it's like to fly? Remember that we can use ever with a negative verb. We could change this to use never in this question. For example, you could say, have you never wondered what it's like to fly? Number 4, my family has never had a pet in the house. And number 5, hasn't he ever written you a letter? Great job! If you want to answer a question that has ever or never in it, there's a few different ways you can do it. If your answer is no, you could add no, never. You could also say no, not once, to emphasize that it has never happened in your life. You could also use the verb to have in your answer. No, I haven't. You could even add more information after that from the question, like, no, I haven't ever been to Europe. Similarly, if you want to answer yes, you could use the to have verb. Yes, I have. Or, yes, I have been to Europe. You could use words to describe how many times the thing has happened. Yes, once means one time. Yes, twice, which means it happened 2 times. Or you could keep getting bigger. Yes, 3 times, 4 times. You could use a general word like a few if you don't want to give specific information. And if you want to say when something happened, you could also put that in your answer. For example, if the question was, have you ever been to Europe? You could say, yes, in 2016. Or even, yes, I was in Europe in 2016. So you have a lot of choices for answering these questions. Now here's something for you to try. Write some questions using the words below. And also, try to think of your answer. How would you answer these questions about your life? Don't forget that when we're making the present perfect, we need to have the correct past participle. For some verbs, that is the same as the past tense. But there are also lots of irregular verbs, so watch out for that. Here's our example. To put together the words play and golf, we could ask a question, have you ever played golf? For me, the answer is yes, a few times. For each of these 5 groups of words, see if you can write a question about them and think of your answer. Give it a try. Here's the questions you could write using these words. For number 1, have you ever won a race? For me, the answer is no, I've never won a race. For number 2, have you ever driven a bus? For me, the answer is also no, I've never driven a bus. For number 3, have you ever broken a bone? Again, for me, the answer is no, I've never. I'm lucky. For number 4, have you ever been to London? For me, the answer is yes, once. And number 5, have you ever seen someone famous? For me, the answer is no, I don't think so. Remember these past participles in each of these questions. In number 1, we have won, W-O-N. In number 2, driven. In number 3, broken. In number 4, been. And in number 5, seen. We're also going to take a look at the words for, since, and ago, because they also talk about when something happened in the past. These are very unique words, and each of them is a little different, so pay close attention. For and since are words that tell us how long. For will tell us the total amount of time. So from the beginning of what happened to the end of what happened, how much time did it take? For example, Jane has been in Ireland for 3 days. So she probably arrived in Ireland on Sunday, and now it's Tuesday. The total of that time is 3 days. Since tells us the starting time of the period. So, for example, Sharon has been sick since Monday. We know that she got sick on Monday, and she has been sick until now. We don't know how much time that was, but since will tell us when that started. Ago means before now, so we're measuring backwards, from now, back in time. So for example, I sent the package 3 days ago. So if today is Wednesday, that means I sent the package on Monday, 3 days ago. Measuring from now back into the past. So pay close attention to for, since, and ago because they all have different meanings when we are measuring time. Let's take a look at a conversation that uses the present perfect, ever and never, and for, since, and ago. I'll read the conversation, see if you can find the language we've been studying. Natalie, you're back. Where have you been? I've been on holiday. I had time off, so I went with some friends traveling for 2 weeks. Where did you go? We took a trip to Greece. I've loved Greek food since I was young. Have you ever been there? Wow, I've never been. Sounds like fun. I've got some pictures if you want to see. Sure. Here's where we see the present perfect used in this conversation. You can see that it's used sometimes in questions, but also in the answers to those questions. Those are highlighted in yellow. Take a look at for and since in this conversation. You can see in the second part, traveling for 2 weeks. That means that Natalie was away for the total of 2 weeks. She probably left 2 weeks ago, and after 2 weeks was finished, she returned. You can also see since I was young, meaning that she liked Greek food when she was young, maybe when she was a child, and she has liked it until now. We can see that using ever and never is a really good way of learning about other people's experiences. It helps us to ask good questions to learn about other people. I hope that now you feel you can ask questions to learn about other people's experiences. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.